All right, welcome you guys. This is our team boom call. It is Tuesday, September 8th. I hope you all had an awesome long weekend. I know it says here that I am Pat. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brooke. I'm gonna be talking to you guys tonight about inviting, but before we get that started, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna do a little recognition before I go into the topic of our call. Okay. So you guys can see the screen, right? Yeah? Okay, thanks Pam, I can see you. Okay, so to start off, okay, this is September. It's technically the second, yeah, because September 1st is a Tuesday. So this is like the first real full week that we've had in September. And I am loving seeing so many names on the board. So you can see to the right there is SC4 and above. So these people have helped 2 people so far in the month of September. And like I said, it is so early in the month. So I'm sure we're gonna see more and more names and bigger numbers added to this board as the month goes on. So SC4 means people have helped 2 people, either with a challenge pack or completion pack. It gets you 2 Success Club points. Or when somebody signs up for Shakeology Home Direct, meaning they get it every month, that's 2 Success Club points. And you get 1 Success Club point when somebody orders at least 90 PV worth of product on Home Direct. So like 3 boxes of bars or the Performance Stack or whatever. As long as it's 90 PV worth and it's on Home Direct, that's 1 Success Club point. Like Kim said last week, she said she was kind of butchering the last name. So I'm going to go by first names because hopefully you guys are reading along with me. So at SC4, we have, starting at the top, we have Allison Graham. Okay, I'll try. Andrea Neville, Callie Nix, Destiny Melendez, Diane Amelia Reed, Ellie Tordoff, Gerald Kruger, Hannah Kelly, Jessica Clark, Kate Fargo, Kiri Konchowski, Liana, Maggie Schueck, Mackenzie Craig, Nazanin, Nikki Whittam, Rachel Morand, Renee Sadden, Shane Copens, Taylor Ramos, and Tess Robinson. If I didn't say your last name, it's because I don't want to butcher it. And then on the left, we have those who are either at SC6, 8, or 10. So that means these people have helped at least 3, 4, or 5 people. And this is the bar. If you've hit Success Club 5 or above, you've hit Success Club. That doesn't mean we stop pushing in the month. It just means you've kind of hit that minimum, but you want to obviously keep pushing and helping as many people as you can in a given month. I just want to make sure I'm recording this. I'm recording. Yeah, okay. So at SC6, we have Kylie Collins, Kim Roberts, Kayla Comio, Jaden Chelsea Tibia, myself, and Ambria Reese. At Success Club 8, we have Lindsay Alana and Kristen Lamarca. And then at SC10, we have Megan Pisani and Bailey Glanzer. So way to go. Like I said, it's only the first week of the month, so keep on going. And we have Christina Burton is our coach of the week. Awesome job. And then before I get started, I'm just going to go over the big board, as Pat likes to call it. So what we really want you guys to see here is that there's 2 big ways to earn in this business, right? So this first board is the Success Club board. This is one of the leadership boards. I tell my team, Success Club isn't the end all be all, but it's a really great way to gauge your progress in this business. You definitely want to have your name on this board every single week. But this is really recognizing like your individual efforts, right? It's the people that you are helping. This is, 100% of the efforts that you are putting out there to bring on new clients. Whereas the big board is really the team aspect of it, right? So we have the 25% commission on everything that you sell, the challengers that you're bringing in. This is your individual, these are like your individual growth throughout the month. Whereas this is the residual income side of things. This is the team aspect. This is the other big way that we earn in this business. There's a 25% commission that's reflected on your Success Club numbers. And then there's the big board, the volume board. This is where you work together. We work as a team to create TV, which is an acronym for team volume. More volume equals more cycles equals more money. So I think everybody on here is cycling. I think so. I think that's what Pat said. Everyone on here is cycling at a diamond, which is $18 per cycle. And again, like I tell my team, that might not sound like a lot at first, like, okay, $18. But if you are cycling, 5, 10, 20, 50 times a week, times 4 times in the month, at $18 a pop, like that really is going to add up in addition to that 25% commission. So, as you know, these are broken down into the clubs. So for like the 1,000 clubs, so basically, if you're in the 1,000 club, you're dividing that by 300 because you need the 200 volume points on your strong leg and the 100 volume points on your weak leg to then team cycle. So I'm going to I'll go through these as quickly as I can. So we have the 1,000, because this is all incredible. This is like definitely worth, recognizing, because this is an awesome achievement, having your name on this board. Definitely make it a goal to have your name on the Success Club board and the big board. So on the Thousands Club, we have Rebecca. I'm going to definitely do first names. Rebecca, Elizabeth, Rachel, myself as my second business center, Kelsey, Jennifer, Amanda, Marielle, Maggie, Lindsay, Catherine, Randy, Melissa, Svetlana, Emily, Joe, Anna, Delaney, Brandy, and Kate. The 2,000 club so that 2,000 club would be 7 cycles, because if you're dividing 2,000 by 300, that's going to get you to cycle 7 times. So we have Chelsea, Michelle in her second business center, Kylie, Chloe, Emily, Carrie, Kelly, Allie, Mackenzie, and Teresa. The 3,000 club, so this is getting you to cycle at least 10 times, 3,000 divided by 300. So we have Tiffany, Jennifer, Amy Ecker in her second business center, Robert, Anastasia, Caitlin, Chelsea, Nina, Erin, Sydney, Christina, Kelsey, Bethany, Jenny, Michelle, and Peter. The 5,000 club is getting you to cycle 17 times, is Lauren, Samantha, Chris, and Lindsay. The 6,000 club getting you to cycle 20 times is incredible. Danielle, Bailey, Kate, and Terry. The 7 club is 23 cycles, that we have Lauren and Corey there. The 8,000 club is 27 cycles. Ashley Feld-Dyson in her second business center, Kim Roberts, Kate Schultz in her second business center, Michelle Cahill, and Gage Ecker. 10,000 club is getting you to cycle 33 times. This is in 1 week. This is awesome. Megan, myself, Anne Marie, Tyler, Carrie, Lake, and Caroline. The 15,000 club is Curtis Schultz. The 20,000 club is Amy, Cassie, Shauna, Sydney, and Pat in his second business center. The 50,000 club, which is cycling 167 times, which is just incredible, is Kate, Michelle, Beth, and Annie. The 80,000 club is Ashley Feld-Dyson. That's cycling 200. Is that 267, 207? I can't read that, but that's a shit ton of cycles. And Patrick Reelman is cycling in the 100,000 club at 333 freaking cycles. That's incredible. So just imagine, if you're really building that momentum, you're really adding to your team, your people are adding people, all of that volume is accumulated, and all that volume means that you're going to cycle more. And the more you cycle, the more money you get. I like to talk to my team about it being like free money, because this is the money you earn from doing what you would do anyway as a coach. It's like that ripple effect. Once you start really adding to your team, you see that snowball as the weeks go on. So congratulations to everybody whose name I shouted out. Definitely continue, to make that a goal of yours to be on that board. So tonight, I'm going to talk to you about getting over the fear of inviting. This is a topic I feel really passionately about. First, I should mention, if you guys have any questions, please just, unmute yourself and ask them. I always feel like questions just make more sense if you ask them kind of like in the moment rather than going back. And 2, if you have a question, somebody else probably has the same one. So feel free to just interrupt and ask a question. I love questions. But like I said, I am going to talk to you about getting over the fear of inviting. I really feel passionately about talking about this topic because I feel strongly that you will not have a business if you are not inviting. Like, you're going to get lucky sometimes. People are going to come to you once in a blue moon, especially if you are a more veteran coach and you've been around and people have told you not right now, but you're consistent and you're showing up. People are going to come back into your inbox. That's actually I think I have 8 Success Club points this month so far. And I think 6 of those are from people who just kind of came back, who had said, not right now. But that's not, that's not the norm, especially as a new coach. So you have to be inviting. So we're going to go over all of these things, why inviting is the bread and butter of your business, why it's important, why it's not scary, how you can do it, making it a daily vital, and reaping the benefits. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. I apologize if you've heard my story like 100 times, but it really plays a big factor in kind of why I have this mentality and this mindset with this topic. So again, for those, if you don't know me, my name is Brooke Reed. I've been a coach for a little over 5 years, and we are a 5-star diamond team. We just locked it in maybe like 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and it's pretty amazing. It still feels really cool and exciting to even say that out loud. But before I started coaching, I was a kindergarten teacher. So even before that, I went to school for 7 years for teaching. I just knew I always loved working with little kids, and it just kind of seemed like that made the most sense. Like, what am I going to do with a passion for helping little kids? I'm going to teach. And so I went to school for 7 years with grad school and all that fun stuff. And as soon as I graduated, I remember it vividly, that June, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he and I did the original P90X, like the original one, way before P90X3 with 30-minute workouts or everything. Like, they were all 60 minutes. I think the yoga was like 90 minutes, but we followed it to a freaking T. And this was before like the really condensed and easy to follow meal plans were a thing. Like, this is when each program had its own meal component or nutrition component, and it just wasn't as seamless as the ones that we have now are. And so, but I remember, like, we did it fully. And I remember I think we both did, but I know myself, I got into the best shape of my life ever. And I've always been, always is probably a overuse of the word. I've usually been an active person, like with sports and stuff. So that was definitely telling. And so that spring I got into the best shape. I, felt good. I landed my first job. I was over the moon. Teaching jobs are usually very hard to come by. And so I landed a kindergarten teaching job, and I was so excited. I am the type of person, I like to give whatever I'm doing like 150%. And so I threw myself into my teaching job. I wanted to prove, like, to my parents, to myself, to my boyfriend, who's now my husband, that I could do this, right? And I also wanted to prove myself to the parents of my students, because this is going back like 13 years or something. And I'm sure to them, especially now because I have a 4-year-old now, I can imagine that they were looking at me thinking like, okay, who is this, really young girl who's going to be in charge of my kids' kindergarten education? Because I look young to begin with, never mind 13 years ago. And so I really wanted to prove to them that I was going to be like the best kindergarten teacher that they could have ever possibly wanted for their child. And so I like threw my entire life into my job. And again, I only had a boyfriend at the time. We had our dog. We were renting an apartment. So like, we didn't have a mortgage. We didn't have huge adult, things that we didn't have like big bills to pay. We didn't have a mortgage, and we didn't have huge responsibilities. And so I could give the extra time to my job because I didn't have to come home to my kids. I could give the extra money, even though in hindsight, I definitely shouldn't have, because I didn't have those high paying bills. And I had the time. So I put everything I had into my job, and it was all well and good for a while. But after a couple of years, I'm pretty sure that's when we got engaged, and I started thinking about the future. I told you I like to put 150% into everything I do. And that it also plays a part in the planning piece of my personality. I love to just kind of plan ahead. I love to know what's happening. And so when we got engaged, I think I started thinking about the future. And it was no secret that I knew one day I wanted to be a mom. And I guess in hindsight, I always just kind of assumed that I was going to be able to like do it all. Like I was going to, before I started actually teaching, I just assumed I was going to be like this amazing teacher and like have all the time in the world and do all of the things and put 150% effort into teaching while also doing the same with, being a mom one day. Sorry, I have to take my sweatshirt off. I'm dying. Okay. So I guess I just kind of was living in this like dream world. So once I started teaching and then we got engaged and I was like, okay, I don't know if this is actually doable. Like I don't know how anybody can be like this full-time, hands-on, awesome teacher that I want to be, and how I'm going to be this awesome, hands-on, full-time mom that I want to be. Like it just didn't really add up. And so I started asking some teacher friends who are also moms, and basically everybody was like, you kind of half-ass both jobs. You're kind of like half in, half out with teaching and half in, half out with your mom hat on. And that didn't really sit well for me. I don't like to do things like if I'm going to do something, I want to do it. And so I always thought until then I was going to be this, old lady who'd be like, yeah, I've been teaching kindergarten for 45 years. And so I quickly started to realize that maybe that wasn't the life I was meant to live. Like maybe like all of a sudden my priorities changed, my perspective changed. And I am a true believer that when you're thinking something, when you write it in your affirmations, you kind of say it out loud, the universe kind of presents itself. You're more aware, like when you're open to opportunities and possibilities, it's almost like they're put in front of you right when they're needed, right? And so my adopted coach is Annie. And so when I started thinking like, okay, maybe teaching isn't like what my life's going to look like for the next 50 years, I started kind of thinking about what else I could possibly do. My husband went to high school with Annie. And so I knew her through him. Like we were Facebook friends. We weren't really friends yet, but it was enough for me for us to know each other on Facebook. And I'm forever grateful that she put her story out there on social media, because her story spoke to me, right? She had been laid off from her job. She was home with 2 little boys. She was really happy, clearly. She was really healthy. She was working out and she was making money. And she had something for herself. Like her story was like, just all of a sudden her story was exactly what I wanted, is my new plan A. And so I'm really grateful that she continued to put her story out there and she was vulnerable, because it really spoke to me. And I can't imagine where I would be today if, I hadn't seen that I could see my story in her story. And that's why, that's when I joined her. So, so basically after waiting and watching Annie for way too long, it's my only regret here, is that in this business, but I ended up joining her, and I went all in. I call myself like a unicorn sign up. I was all in as a challenger and as a coach, because as a challenger, I was thinking ahead to the future, having kids. I want to get into a little bit better shape, because when I did P90X, I got into the best shape of my life. But then when I started teaching, I let all of that go out the window. I started eating comfort food. I didn't have enough time or energy to work out. Like I was sleeping less. It was a shit show. And so I had definitely gained some of that weight that I had lost. I gained it back. And so I wanted to get into better shape before I got pregnant. And, obviously my body would change through that. But also I wanted to start something then. I'm a planner. I am an organizer. I like to have options. I am a control freak. So I knew that I was going to have kids one day. And I knew, once my perspective changed, it changed. And so I knew that one day when I had kids, I wanted to be in a position where I was in control, right? I never wanted to be in a position where I had to go back to work because we needed it financially, or I had to go back to work because we needed the benefits or anything like that. if I went back to work, I wanted it to be on my terms. And so I jumped in and I never looked back. Like Annie told me what to do, I did it. I was really coachable. You know, she told me to sign up my Controlled Business Center. I didn't know what that meant, but I did it because from the day I joined, probably even before that, I had this vision, this really strong vision, not just for my business, but for my life, because instantly I knew that this business was the ticket to freedom. Whatever that freedom means to all of you, like for me, that freedom meant being able to stay home with my kids, but still being in the position where I could pay my bills. Like not staying home with my kids and then we're strapped for money and we can't do anything and we can never move and we can't go on vacation and we can't buy Christmas presents. Like I wanted to be in a position where, yeah, I could stay home, but at the same time, I can still live the life that we're used to, right? And so I signed up, and I didn't look back. And so 4 months after I signed up, I found out that I was pregnant. And so all of a sudden it was like, okay, that dream that one day, that life that I know I would live one day down the road when I have kids was all of a sudden a reality. And in my head, there was a little ticking time bomb going off. And all of a sudden, it wasn't like one day in the future when I have kids, I want to be able to stay home. One day in the future when I have kids, I want to still have something for myself, but I don't think I want to teach anymore. It was like game on. That day is coming, like ready or not. And so that really lit this really strong why within me. And I think that's part of that hustle that I've had since the very beginning, because I've always had a why and a vision where in order to achieve it, my back has always been against the wall. And so I think that's really important for all coaches to have, even if you don't have it yet, or if you're a brand new coach, that's okay. But I would challenge you to continue to dig away and to discover what it is that really fuels you. Because just, a lot of new coaches will say they're here because they really like to help people, which is all well and good. And I know I'm getting off on a tangent, but just wanting to help a random person on the other side of your phone on social media that you don't really know in real life isn't going to have that fire burn in your belly to make you get those invites in before you go to bed, right? Wanting to help Susie Sally on the other end of your computer isn't going to push you to stay awake until you put out, X amount of invites that you told yourself you would this morning. I am a true believer that your why has to be something that's like really near and dear to your heart, something that, has an emotional attachment to it, and something that has, like a time frame connected to it. So for me, it was, that my son was going to be here in 8 months or something. And I needed to get this business into a position where I knew I probably wasn't going to replace my income quite yet, but I needed to get it into a place where I could give myself those options that I love. And so I hustled. Here I am. So I was a 6th year kindergarten teacher, a very new part-time coach, and growing a human. I know that people thought I was crazy, like people I work with, because I actually was pregnant right alongside my assistant, and she would, be talking about how early she went to bed and like all of these things. And I'd be like, yeah, I went to bed at 11:30. And it was only because the clock was ticking, right? And so I hustled and I found pockets of time that I didn't think I had. So instead of going above and beyond for teaching, like instead of doing that extra 50%, I was still doing that 100% as a teacher, but that extra 50% that I would have gone above and beyond, that was going to Beachbody now, because I knew that Beachbody was my plan A. And so if I wanted to make this really happen, like I needed to find those pockets. So I would still wake up early. I would get my workout in. I would check into my challenge group. This is when we were posting on social media like multiple times a day. So I was posting on social media, and then that was that. I did little things, like I stopped going to the teacher's lounge to eat lunch because it's a pretty pessimistic environment anyway. People are pretty much just kind of saying all the things that went wrong in that given day. And so I remember I would sit in my classroom, the lights were off. I would kind of sit in the corner so nobody would think I was in there, so nobody would come in and talk to me. I would, be eating my lunch with one hand and I I was on my cell phone on Facebook, even though I'm sure that wasn't allowed, kind of multitasking, right? And so not only did I use that time to work my business, but I also found pockets, but also found the tasks that were most effective or most efficient during each pocket. So for example, when I'm sitting there on my lunch break trying to, check off some boxes on my BAT, that wasn't the time to be inviting, right? Like that wasn't the time to be doing my follow-ups. That was the time that, my brain was like half into Beachbody and half into like, what are my kids doing when they get back from recess? And so that was a time for me to like do mindless things, check into my challenge group, answer messages from, Facebook Messenger, send friend requests or follow requests, like really mindless tasks that I could kind of whip out really quickly. And then at night was my inviting and following up time because it was quiet. I could focus. I was on my couch, computer on my lap, tracking system, whatever that was at the time, open and ready to go. And I could really like plug into my people. So it's not just, about finding the pockets, but I think it's really important to think about what you're going to do during each pocket so that each pocket is as effective or as efficient as it can be. So anyway, to finish my really long story, when my son was born, he was born the end of April. And so most teachers would take, April, May, June, the summer, go back in September. I was able to justify taking an extended leave of absence. And I took that whole next school year. So I took almost, I think it was 16 months, all in all. And so now here I am, he's my first. So I'm a brand new mom, have no idea what I'm doing with mom life. Still a relatively new coach, still kind of, learning the ropes, totally sleep deprived. But I remember again, finding those pockets because the only thing for me, and this is just my personal opinion, the only thing for me and my family that was going to be worse than having to go back to work after those, 5 months would have been to have lived this life of full-time mom, part-time coach for those 16 months that I had my maternity leave, and then having to go back. Because it would have been like, that gave me the taste of what could have been, but now I have to go back. So, I didn't take that maternity leave to like, sit down and breathe. I was hustling still because I wanted to, at the end of those 16 months, I wanted to not go back. I didn't want to have to go back because, my time was up. And I didn't. So at the end of that 16 months, again, I still hadn't replaced my income yet, but with what we would pay for daycare and our dog walker and gas money and all that stuff, like it didn't make sense anymore. And I knew it would be really challenging for me to continue to work my business. So I was able to stay home. And so I've been home since my first was born, which was that was my dream. And so it's been an incredible journey. I now have an 11-month-old as well. And my second pregnancy was so different from my first because with my second, I have been a full-time coach. And so I could take a nap when I needed to, or put my feet up. As a teacher, I was constantly on my feet. And it's just, Beachbody has been such a blessing and I'm so thankful for it. And so basically that's kind of where this mentality of getting over the fear of inviting comes from, because I never really had the opportunity to fear inviting because I had such a big why. I had this really strong long-term vision for my family. And I was in a time crunch because my son was coming, whether I was ready or not. And so I didn't have time to think about what Susie on the other side of my phone from high school is going to think of my invite. I was just sending the damn invites because I wanted to move my business as far forward as I could before I gave birth to my son. So that's kind of where that comes from. And so I always say, I really feel like there is this 50-50 with inviting. It's a 50% mentality and it's a 50% like mechanics, like the actual act of the things that you're doing. But it's not just the inviting. It's kind of the things that lead up to the invite. So I like to think of it as like a building or something. The mindset piece of it is like the foundation, right? You have to have that solid foundation. You have to have that solid mindset around inviting knowing that inviting is what's going to move your business forward. We talk about those income producing activities. That's inviting. You know, you're not going to make Success Club. You're not going to be adding people to your team if you're not inviting. So that, you know, the foundation, you got to lay the foundation of your building. That's the mindset piece. And then we'll go from there. So I want you to raise your hand if any and all of these apply to you. And these are not rhetorical. I really want you to raise your hand. Have you ever been nervous to send an invite because you're afraid of what somebody's going to think of you? I'm scrolling. I'm looking at everybody. If you're not raising your hand, you're lying. We've all been there. And I think if you haven't been there, I mean, that's amazing, I guess, but you are not alone if you've been there. We have all been there. Raise your hand if you have been nervous to send an invite because you're afraid, because you're afraid that they're going to think you're only trying to sell them something, right? Being too salesy, totally. Or you've been nervous to send an invite because you're afraid of inviting somebody over and over and over too many times. Yes, we have all been there. So let's break down some of this stuff and hopefully help you kind of get over that fear. So if you truly want to help people, you have to get comfortable getting uncomfortable. That's just the nature of our business. We are in the business of putting ourselves out there and being vulnerable so that we can find the people who need our help, right? I told you I am so thankful that Annie put herself out there. She shared her story over and over. She shared all the different pieces of it because that's what allowed me to see my future. You know, my right now at the time was her past. And so when she would share her past and where she come from, I was like, that's me. And then she would share her current and I was like, that's where I could be. So that's just par for the course. And I promise the more you do it, the easier it gets, but getting comfortable with getting uncomfortable. The fact of the matter is that most people are not going to say yes the first time they're invited. It's just not going to happen. I think there's some statistic that says like 7 to 10 times or something before somebody is going to say yes. What's hard for us is the timing piece, because as far as we're concerned, the timing for them to join us is always right now. You know, because we know that we have a kick-ass challenge group for them to join. We know that the latest program that just launched is amazing and they would love it. But if the timing isn't right for them, it's not right. Because if they join when the timing isn't right for them, then they're not going to give it their all. They're going to get half-ass results because they're putting in half-ass effort, and then they're going to say it didn't work for them or whatnot. The timing has to be right for them. Even though the timing for us for them is always right now, it has to be right for them. So it's our job to stay consistent, to continue to show up and being that light for people so that when they are ready, you're still around and ready to help them. You know, like I told you, I watched Annie for 2 years. What if when I decided I was ready after those 2 years, she wasn't around anymore? She had given up. I don't know where I would be. Maybe I would be up with another coach and she would have missed out on having another 5-star in her downline. You just have to continue to show up because the timing will eventually be right for them. Think of it this way. By choosing not to invite somebody, you're robbing them of the opportunity to change their life. Right? Our job, I think she said it on the National Wake Up Call this week. That was just yesterday. Our job is to continually put this opportunity, both the health and fitness side of things and the business, in front of people. It's up to them whether they say yes or not. Don't judge a book by its cover. She did. This was yesterday. I was trying to think if it was yesterday or a couple weeks ago. She said, you know, like, why not me? Because her friend, you know, she was inviting everybody and then she wasn't inviting her best friend. And finally her best friend was like, why not me? And so she said, you know, it just goes to show that you need to invite everybody because you have no idea what life people are living behind closed doors. Don't just assume that somebody's really skinny so she wouldn't need this, or somebody makes a lot of money so they wouldn't need this, because you never know. Maybe they hate their job. Maybe they have an eating disorder. You have no idea what's happening. Our job is to simply put this opportunity in front of as many people as humanly possible. And then it's up to them if they're ready to say yes or not. And if they do say no, it's more than likely just a not right now. That's why it's important to keep showing up. So that's the foundation. That is the mindset piece. Ready? So we're kind of like building a tower here. The foundation, the bottom layer is that mindset. Once you have that solid mindset, you are going to just put in some daily effort that's going to allow you to send effortless, fearless invites. Okay, stay with me. So we have the bottom layer, that's our mindset. The next layer is stories. You have to be sharing stories every single day. And I'm going to put a disclaimer here. All the stuff that I'm going to say, I'm not saying that I am perfect with it, but in an ideal world, these are all the things that we would be doing every single day. So you want to be sharing stories every single day, right? You want to be sharing a workout clip every single day that you work out, right? It's going to be really hard to invite somebody to join your health and fitness challenge if you're never showing them that you're working out, right? So you want to share your workout clips. You want to share different pieces. I like to, you want to share your workout clips, but also take every opportunity to kind of add value to the person who you know is watching your story. Think of the things that the you before Beachbody needed to hear. So while I'm showing a workout clip, I'm also like the text has something to do, like I'm breadcrumbing something in there that's adding value or perspective to my person. So like today I posted my workout clip, and in the text part, I talked about how somebody asked me how I stay motivated. And so I listed the 3 ways that I stay motivated. Like you want to kind of add like a little bit extra whenever you can. But you want to be showing your workout every day, because if you're truly inviting people to join you on your journey, you have to show them that you're on a journey yourself. You want to be sharing products without the labels. I'm a big believer in curiosity marketing. But again, it's going to, when you talk to somebody about your health and fitness challenge, you're talking to them, they're asking questions, you're getting an idea of what the best route is for them. And you're talking about what's included in a challenge pack. It's going to be a hell of a lot easier to sell somebody on Shakeology or on Recover, Energize, whatever, if you're showing those products in your stories, right? Because you can kind of just talk about like, oh, that's the yellow drink you see me drinking every day before my workout. Like I literally couldn't live without it. Or I tried once working out without it, and my workout absolutely sucked or something. You can relate to it. So they're seeing that you're using the product. You're not just trying to sell them something. You're selling them the idea that they can work out that much better with this product. You want to sell the fact that Shakeology is a necessity, all that fun stuff. So products without labels. You always want to be sharing something that's going to add value to the person you're speaking to. So if you're continuously adding to your market based on your target market, when you go to share in your stories about like your everyday life and the things that you like and dislike and that kind of stuff, you're automatically going to be speaking to your target market, right? So like I'm a mom, I bring on, I would say 98% of moms. And so mom life has a lot to do with my stories and my posts and stuff. So by simply adding moms every day, and then when I go every day to share in my stories, just mom stuff, just things that I would share anyway, it automatically relates to my niche. Talk to the camera. I know it can sound and feel really weird at first. I promise the more you do it, the easier it gets. You just want to talk to your camera as if it's your best friend. You don't want to, I love on the National Wake Up Call, she mentioned once, and I always say like she or he, because I have no idea whose names these people are. She said something like one and done, so she records and she sends it. She doesn't do it 87 times until it's perfect. She doesn't care if she forgets a word. She doesn't care if she slurs one of her words, because that's real life and that's what people want to see. That's what people can relate to. I had one girl message me once and she was like, I love how you show your house when it's a disaster. She's like, I follow way too many women who clearly, clean up their house to show the video of their kids singing Elmo or whatever. I'm like, nope, like I don't have time for that. This is, what you see is what you get. So just talk to your camera, talk to it as if it's your best friend. And then also talk about what we do as coaches. I think we're so quick to talk about health and fitness because we're showing our workouts and we're showing, our healthy meals. But if you want to bring on coaches, which is, that big board, that's really where the income starts coming in. That's when I think things start to really get fun. You got to talk about coaching. Just like you're inviting to health and fitness and you're talking about health and fitness, if you want to invite to coaching and you want to bring people on your team, you have to be talking about what we do as coaches. So then we have our daily posts. So the foundation is our mindset. The first tier is the first from the bottom tier is the stories. Then you have your posts. Again, if you are not posting about your journey, it's going to be really weird and uncomfortable for you to invite to your journey. Because, if you invite somebody to join you on your health and fitness journey, especially if they don't know you, it's more likely than not that they're going to see your message. Then they're going to go to your page and kind of scope out your page and see what you're all about. And if you have nothing to do with fitness or nutrition or said challenge group, they're going to be like, who the hell is this Burke girl and what is she talking about? But if you are just, you are treating your health and fitness journey just as a part of your everyday life and you're breadcrumbing it into your posts every now and then and you're sharing about it on your stories consistently, it's just part of your daily life. It's just a habit. So it's going to be second nature to then invite people to join you. So it's not going to feel weird or uncomfortable, but it's going to feel weird and uncomfortable for you to invite to it if you're never talking about it. And it's going to be confusing to the other person if you're never talking about it. But if you just make it a part of your daily habits, it just kind of happens naturally. So you have mindset, stories, posts. Think of the person you're attracted to. Are you going to be attracted to somebody who vomits Beachbody everywhere? Or are you going to be attracted to someone who's showing all of the pieces of them? I like to think of the Monet girls, the hair girls. I love getting my hair done. I cannot do my hair to save my life. So if I'm following a Monet girl and all she's talking about is her hair and she spends hours doing her hair and it's always so pretty, that doesn't relate to me. But if she's talking about how she is she's, what's the word I'm looking for? She is, doing her best. She's a hot mess mom and she loves to go to Target and she works out when she can squeeze it in. And, she's sharing all the pieces of her. And then once in a blue moon, she's sharing about this awesome hair product that's super easy to use. She uses it on wet hair right when she gets out of the shower and she loves the way it makes her hair feel or whatever. That would resonate with me because she's a hot mess mom trying to do her best, but she still likes to look her best once in a while. That relates to me. But if she's just talking about Monet, I can't relate to that at all. I just can't. People aren't going to relate to 100% health and fitness posts. People are coming to your page for all of the other things, most likely, that makes you you. And it just so happens that Beachbody ends up being the solution to one of their problems. People are coming to your page because you're a mom. People are coming to your page because you guys have the same breed of dogs. People are coming to your page because you're both nurses or whatever. And then when they see you breadcrumbing in health and fitness, they're like, okay, I really jive with this girl. She seems down to earth. She seems like somebody I could get along with. And she's offering this nutrition thing. I really need help with nutrition. I'm going to, see what she's all about. What you post about is what you attract. Your brand is just a fancy way to say the top 5 things that make you you. Besides, I like to think of health and fitness as one thing, coaching is a whole nother, for me anyway. And then what else? What else makes you you? Those should be the things that make up majority of your page. So, mindset, stories, posts, here are the private messages. This is all the work. You've been working for this. This is the private messages. These are the invites. If you've been laying the groundwork with your mindset, with your posts, with your stories, sending these invites should be easy peasy. It shouldn't feel weird or uncomfortable. You should be able to message people because it's just kind of second nature, just kind of what happens next. You're on this journey. You are a product of the product. You love the way you feel. Why wouldn't you share that with the next person, right? So make it a game, make it fun, listen to music, set a timer, set a goal number. For me, I have a certain amount of invites that I like to get done Monday through Friday. If I don't get them done on that given day, they roll over to the next day. It's not like they go away. I know some people like to listen to music, set a timer, play a game with yourself. Like I did 30 invites in 30 minutes yesterday. Today I'm going to do 35 in 30 minutes, whatever it takes just to get them done. Because when you're focusing on the game, the number, the music, it's less likely that you're going to stop to hesitate about who you're inviting, what your wording is like, does it have to be perfect? And you're just going to be focused on getting them done, right? Use your story, the people who view your stories on Instagram, stories on Facebook, your Facebook friend list, people who are liking your posts. Like you should never feel like you are at a loss of people to invite. Even if you have a whole slew of people on your Facebook, but they're not watching your story, invite them anyway. You have like 1,000 Facebook friends. You should never feel like you're, you know, at a loss of people to invite. And then obviously you're adding to your network every single day. These are just some invite examples. I tend to invite really short and sweet. So mine looks like something like the one in the middle. It says, "Hey girl" here, but I always personalize it. I just have that as like a default in case I forget. But it's always like, you know, "Hey Sarah, I just wanted to thank you for always following my journey." So this would probably be for somebody who's watching my story. "Your support means so much. And I was just wondering if you had any interest in jumping into my next virtual bootcamp." Like short, sweet. It would sound like if I were to be speaking to her in real life, like it's something I would say. I'm not going to vomit all these details. Just, again, it's just a natural next step. If you're sharing your journey, you're going to invite people to join you. I'm moving a little bit more quickly because I just realized the time in my own team call is in 11 minutes. So I just want to make sure I get through this. And then if you guys want to pop any questions into the chat, I can definitely copy them and I can share them in the Team Boom page, or I can answer any questions in the comments once I post the recording after my team call. Whatever is easiest for you guys. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I like to keep it simple. I like to connect with them. I know all coaches do things differently. I like to get to know my people. I think it sends a message when I ask them questions. I slow down. I have a conversation, a back and forth conversation. I get to know them. When I get to know them, I am learning how I can best help them. Because just because I might have started with the 21-day fix doesn't mean everybody's going to start with the 21-day fix. Especially now, 5 years later, there's so many new programs. For all you know, you're talking to somebody who's been going to the gym every single day for the past 5 years and all of a sudden doesn't want to go to the gym anymore because of COVID. 21-day fix is probably going to be too easy for them. You know what I mean? So you don't want to just assume. I never want my people to feel like they're a number. Maybe that's the teacher in me. I don't know. I like to talk to them. So it gives me the opportunity to get to know them in terms of which fitness program is the best place for them to start and which nutrition program now that people as of tomorrow are going to have the option to do both. Also, I think it sends the message to my person that they are more than just a number and I have a genuine interest in their well-being and I can really help them on their journey. Like they're seeing like, okay, Brooke really cares and like I have the tools and the capability to really help them with their goals. So when I invite, if somebody responds back and says like, yeah, sure, I'm interested in chatting more about it. Every single time I could type this blind, I say this every single time. There's actually a bunch of different options. Would it be okay if I asked you a few questions so I can get an idea of how I can help you best? Every single time. Nobody ever says no. These are the questions I ask. I ask one at a time. I just use these questions to kind of keep the convo flowing. My invite is scripted. Once they respond back that they're interested, there is no script happening. I am just talking to somebody who's become a new friend. Like I'm just trying to get to know them. So I use these questions, but then I respond to each one. I like to use feel, felt, found. I want them to feel like they're not the only one who's ever felt that way or been in that situation. Again, I'm building trust and rapport with them. So I'll always ask, can you tell me about your current fitness and nutrition habits? What, if anything, do you struggle with? Have you ever tried following a scripted fitness and nutrition program before? If so, which ones? A lot of times you'll hear people will say like 21-day fix, and then I can ask if they've ever had a coach before. And it's just an opportunity to get as much information as possible, especially because then you can cater the challenge pack options to them to really hit home on whatever they said is their struggle or their goals or whatnot. Do you think you could squeeze in a 30-ish minute workout from home most days? What would you say are your short-term and long-term health goals? Again, I ask one at a time, respond to each one. Just use it as a way to keep the convo flowing. Make sure they feel validated, feel felt found. Oh my goodness, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way before I started following these programs. I would literally go to the gym and do the same 3 machines because I had no clue what I was doing. And I always felt like people were staring at me, haha. So what I found was I do way better following these programs at home. No one is watching, and I literally just follow the trainer and get results, which is a true thing. See, like I want them to feel, and they'll write back like, oh my goodness, that's exactly how I felt, like LOL, whatever. Starting, you're just building a relationship with them. What are we really selling? The relationship. I swear I didn't just do that on purpose. We are selling the relationship. Anybody can go to teambeachbody.com and order the MBF challenge pack right now, but what they wouldn't get from that is you, right? Get intentional about why you're doing what you're doing. Like, why are you excited to help this person? When you start getting those messages from customers or clients who had joined you last month, 4 months ago, 8 months ago, and you're starting to get those messages where like, I've lost 50 pounds, or I just jumped on the trampoline with my kids. I've never had this much energy before, or my coworker asked me today, what I'm doing. Getting those messages make it so worth it. So think about, why it is that you're doing what you're doing, because again, you don't want those people to think that they're just a number. They're just another $160 and then, they're on their way. I want people to really feel like I'm going to be on this journey with them. You are not selling. You are extending the invite to something that changed your life. So again, that comes from being a product of the product and having that true passion for your own journey, and then just wanting to pay it forward. If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no, and it's our responsibility to put this opportunity in front of other people. So at the end of the day, you should feel as though you have given people the opportunity to say no enough, right? That means you've sent enough invites. Maybe you're inviting someone who needs this way more than you do. Like, you have no idea, like I said, what's going on behind closed doors. And I love that Pat will sometimes remind us that this business is meant to be fun. I know sometimes I can get caught up in all of the things and the BAT and the numbers and the checklists. But if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So definitely take a step back and reevaluate what you're doing. And then last but not least, it's like, what's the alternative? For me, there was no alternative. Like, from the moment I started, there was zero alternative. Like, there was no way that Beachbody wasn't going to work. And so that's what pushed me to hustle. And so you have to find that within yourself. You have to find a why that's, like I said at the beginning, going to push you to show up and wake up at 4:30 a.m. if that's the only time you can get your power hour in, or that's going to push you to stay up until midnight to get your power hour done. What's the alternative? If you're okay with Beachbody kind of sort of working out, then it's okay to kind of sort of work it. But if you're looking for Beachbody to replace your current income, for you to leave your job, maybe you love your job, but you want to earn X amount of dollars so that you can travel more or whatever, what's the alternative? Then you don't get to do what you want to do. And if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. But if you're not, then you got to invite. Whew. So that's my spiel. I'm going to look at the chat. I have a couple minutes before I have to hop off. Yay. And Annie, we trust. She's a little Christian. I think having the time crunch is what helped me too. Send invites and didn't care. Yep, you can't care. What would you typically say to someone who says they are happy with what they are already doing on their own or at the gym? I mean, I don't know if there's much you can say. You could ask them about nutrition. You definitely want to think about both parts of the puzzle, like the fitness and the nutrition. So I'd maybe ask them about that and, adding on the nutrition component so that they can, see more results. But if they're okay with that too, then there's not much you can do. I would definitely keep in touch with them. I would put them into my Asana for 3 months down the road and make a note that they're doing their own thing. And in 3 months, I'll check in and say, I know last time we chatted, you were doing your own thing. Like, how's that working out for you? And I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be like, actually, I haven't been able to go X, Y, and Z. And you're like, okay, well, why don't you give this a try? Also, what's an invite you would use with someone who is a trainer or does their own online fitness coaching? If they've ever considered doing what you do as an online health coach to supplement what they're doing, to do it alongside what they're already doing. Lead with coaching if they are liking what they are currently doing and might want to try something else. Yeah. If they like what they're doing, you could kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You kind of like, I can't think of what I'm trying to say. You could make them like feel like they could use that area of expertise as a coach. So it's like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Like, I bet you would, you know, make a really awesome coach since you're really already have a passion for health and fitness. Have you ever considered doing what I do? And they're like, no, you know, I'd be happy. And then that's why you want to have those coach sneak peeks to add them to. Because those coach sneak peeks answer all the questions for you. You don't have to sit there and start typing out all of, you know, all the ins and outs of coaching. Yeah. Okay, guys, I have to hop off because I have a guest speaker on my call. So I'm going to get this recording uploaded as soon as I can, and I will post it in the Team Boom Coaches page. Thank you guys for spending the hour with me. I appreciate it.